Alright, so hey guys, so this video is specifically for the females, but it could be for the guys as well, whoever's listening. So I've noticed there's been a lot of domestic violence videos, pictures being shared lately, and I've never been in a relationship with someone who has physically abused me, but I have been in a relationship with someone who has verbally abused me. And I thought that it was important for me to do this video because it's like there's so many warning signs that you as a woman can look for. And, I understand being in love. Like I said, I was in a relationship with someone who verbally abused me, never put his hands on me, but it was always, we did have maybe one or two encounters where I was kind of like, he might, but he never did. But verbal abuse is one of the number one signs that he possibly could or might put his hands on you. Um, Anytime someone claims to love you and they hurt you, that's not love. And I understand that we as women, we love who we love, and sometimes we love so hard that we don't realize that, damn, maybe he's not going to change, or damn, maybe he keeps doing this because I keep taking him back, or I keep allowing myself to fall for the same things. Cheating is one thing. That's not abuse. He's not abusing you. He's not saying anything to you. He's not hurting you. He's hurting you, but he's not doing it verbally or physically. He's doing it mentally. So let me start by saying there's three different types of abuses. There's physical abuse, where he's actually putting his hands on you. There's verbal abuse, where he's calling you names, he's making you insecure, he's making you self-conscious. And then there's mental abuse, where he's not saying anything, he's not hitting you, he's not talking to you, but he's going out and he's doing things that he knows you wouldn't approve of, like cheating on you or flirting with other women or getting other women's numbers. Um, so I just want you women to be aware of some of the warning signs. Some of the warning signs can be how he acts when he's drunk. We all go out and, have our social lives and we drink and we might have, two or three and we stop. And then, he might have four or five, and let's say you guys are out together and you're like, okay, babe, you're at your limit. And he's like, I'm a grown man. You don't tell me I'm at, that's where it starts. Or if every time he gets drunk, his mood changes and his tone changes and he gets angry, or he starts, you know, going through different emotions. Let me tell you guys something. Men suffer from mental health issues as well. I know we as women, we think that we're the only ones who go through things, but men suffer from mental health issues as well. They just don't like to talk about it. So, as a child, a little boy, a teenager, men get molested, men get kidnapped. Kids are victims of sex. Boys are victims of uh, sex trafficking. Um, they grow up in households where their mothers are drug addicts, or their father is an abusive father to their mother, and they see this, and it's messing with their mental. But as they get older, they don't know how to cope with it, so their only coping mechanism is drugs or drinking. And when they get spiraled out of control, they target whoever is in sight, and sometimes it's their girlfriend. So, the first time he shows you any type of abusive relationship, I don't give a fuck how in love you are. I don't give a fuck how many kids you guys have together. I don't give a fuck if he's married. I mean, if you guys are married, walk away. No, I don't care how drunk you are. I don't care how mad you are. I don't care how upset you are. Any and everybody knows who they're talking to, who they're dealing with, and how they're dealing with them under any circumstance. I have never, ever, ever tolerated anyone saying, I don't remember who I was with last night, or I don't remember where I was last night. You remember exactly who you were with. You remember exactly where you were. Now, if you don't remember who you're with the next day or where you are the next day, that's a difference. But if you seriously don't know where you began your journey and who you started your journey with, there is a problem there. So I said that to say this. When a man, anybody, have you ever went out and you're like, okay, this girl, she can talk crazy and stupid to this person, and they don't do nothing. But she don't try that shit with me because she know I'll deck her in her eye. It's the same thing for a man versus a woman. You know if you're talking to a man. If you're drunk or you're under the influence and you get into it with a man, that's a different situation. Y'all got to do what y'all got to do. But if you're drunk or you're on drugs and you get into it with a female, you know that she is a female. And the moment you put your hands on her, you know she is not a man because she is going to take that hit differently than a man would take his hit. And even if you are on drugs or you're drunk, it's one thing to slap me. It's one thing to sock me. It's one thing to call me a bitch and say that you hate me. But there's another thing to actually beat the shit out of me until my eyes black, my teeth are falling out, I'm bleeding. It's no excuse. It's absolutely no excuse for a man to ever put his hands on a woman. And I get it and I understand. I will be the first person to say that when the Chris Brown and Rihanna situation came out, I kind of figured that Rihanna and him fought each other, and that was one of the leading causes of what happened. Like, okay, they probably fought each other, but I still understand that yes, people do make mistakes, but some mistakes should never be made. I understand people black out. I understand that shit happens and people make changes to their lives. Um, but I want you guys to understand that when you guys do shit like getting drunk or being high off drugs and you black out on these women and you beat them to the point that, their eye is closed shut or they have to be hospitalized or, now you have to go to jail for domestic violence and now you're out and you want to reprogram and you want to regroup and you want to be in another relationship. I think that that's something that it's important that you share with your new girlfriend. Allow her to know that this is something that you have done in the past and that, you're trying. Um, that's all you can say is you're trying because I feel like once you put your hands on a woman, you're liable to put your hands on another woman. So I feel like all men should say, you know what, this is what I have done in my past and I'm trying to change it because allow this woman to make that decision as to if she even wants to be in a relationship with someone who has a prior domestic violence case or domestic violence background. Allow her that opportunity to be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give him a chance so I can see that he tries because at that moment she will know the first time he raises his voice, the first time he raises his hand, the first time he jerks and accidentally hits her, that okay, let me keep my eyes open. Let me be on my P's and Q's. Um, to the ladies, um, you know, like I said, I've been in love before and I know how it is when we get in these relationships with these guys and we really care about them and we really love them and we want to see them change and we want to change them and we want to be the best girlfriend ever for them. Stop being so blind that you miss all the warning signs. If you guys have kids with these men or if you have kids in general, think about your kids. Um, think about how you would feel if you found out your daughter. Everybody, men and women, the abuser and the abusee. Think about your kids. And if you don't have kids, think about the kids that you might have or would have. Think about how you would feel as a man if someone put their hands on your daughter. Ladies, think about how you would feel if you had a daughter and your daughter was being abused the same way you were being abused. And think about how you would feel as a father having a daughter who is getting abused and you want your daughter to leave this man. And your daughter is like, no, daddy, I love him. I worship, I love him. I don't want anyone else but him. And, you being a father and you, that being your baby, you're like, oh my God, like, I want the best for my child. And then 2 weeks later, you get a phone call saying that your daughter died because this man killed her. Or mothers, you get a call 2 weeks later saying that your daughter was killed in a domestic violence situation. And the only thing that you flash back to is, I never left. That could have been me. But instead of it being me, it's my child. Um, Something that everyone needs to think about. If you have anger issues and you know you have anger issues and you know you don't know how to control them, get help. Um, because what works for you might not work for everyone else, and what works for everyone else might not work for you. So, like I said, there's been a lot of domestic violence situations going on lately, and I just thought that I needed to make this video because it's very, very important that you choose your battles wisely. You pick you can't pick who you fall in love with, but you can get out before it gets too late. So, like I said, the first time a man shows you that he isn't going to change or he hasn't changed, walk away because you could be your child in the future. But flash forward to the fact that you might have survived your domestic violence situation, but your child might not. Alright, guys, thanks for watching.